Russia faces challenges and needs all its allies. However, in recent months, doubts have arisen about the loyalty of one of the most traditional ones. There are even words of betrayal coming from Moscow. Can Russia still rely on Serbia, or has Belgrade switched to the West? And time is running out. Serbia will have to decide, because you can only sit on two chairs until those chairs start moving in opposite directions. Welcome to the Beyond Borders channel. Here we uncover hidden connections, power plays, and conflicts that shape our world. In this video, we'll take a look at the dramatic geopolitical dance of Serbia between two worlds. We'll examine if the betrayal accusations against Belgrade are justified. We'll show how Serbia is getting closer to the European Union while trying to appease Russia. We'll discuss secret arms deliveries, Vučić's surprise Ukraine visit, and protests against Rio Tinto. And finally, we'll ask an important question. Isn't there a risk that the European Union will admit a Russian Trojan horse into its ranks? Serbia and the European Union. Getting closer despite the differences. Serbia and Russia are historically and culturally connected. The two countries share Orthodox faith, Slavic roots, and a long friendship. Vladimir Putin is very popular in Serbia. According to a survey by the Blitz agency from May 2024, more than 50% of the population trusts him. Trust in Western institutions such as NATO is under 20%. And why? Many Serbs still haven't forgotten the bombing of Belgrade in 1999, which was carried out by NATO without a United Nations mandate to stop the war in Kosovo. Still, Serbia is moving closer to the European Union because geopolitics relies on numbers, not feelings. The European Union is Serbia's top trading partner, main investor, and primary provider of development aid. Serbia needs the European Union for access to funds, markets, and also job opportunities for its citizens. Accession talks with the European Union have lasted years, but the situation has recently begun to change. High Representative for Foreign Affairs? Kaja Kallas sent a clear message. Serbia must choose between the European Union and authoritarian regimes, she said. This is strong pressure to force Belgrade to reform and clarify its position on Russia. Vučić responded evasively to this. As always, he promised that reforms would continue, but he didn't commit to anything specific that could upset Moscow. Serbia has reaffirmed its strategy to balance major powers and gain advantages from both. But this game can't last forever, and Brussels is losing patience. Nevertheless, Vučić sometimes acts completely contrary to what Brussels expects from him. In May 2025, as one of the few European leaders, together with Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico, Vučić attended the military parade in Moscow on Victory Day, alongside Vladimir Putin. This move sparked a strong wave of criticism from European politicians who warned that such gestures could seriously damage Serbia's credibility as a candidate country. Serbia and Russia, from brotherhood to suspicion, their relationship has deep roots. During the Balkan Wars in the 1990s, Russia was one of the few major countries that diplomatically and morally stood on the side of the Serbs. Many in Belgrade still consider this proof of true friendship. Serbia and Russia's relationship is heavily tied to energy, as Serbia relies almost entirely on Russian gas. As much as 89% of all supplies come from Gazprom. In May and June 2025, contract extension talks took place, with Serbia stating it seeks the best price in Europe. Energy dependence is one of the reasons why Belgrade cannot afford to completely cut itself off from Moscow. Even the strongest bonds can crack, and today cracks appear more often. The first is Serbia's rapprochement with the European Union. But an even bigger shock came from an area that Moscow guards, almost paranoidly: weapons. In early June, Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service accused Serbia of supplying Ukraine with artillery ammo via intermediaries like the Czech Republic, Bulgaria, and Poland. Moscow officially calls it betrayal. How did Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova describe it? A friend who stabs you in the back. The Russian Secret Service also used strong language. According to the Foreign Intelligence Service statement, it is unlikely that such deliveries can be justified by humanitarian considerations. Their sole purpose is to kill and injure Russian military and civilians. How many weapons are involved? The Russians mention hundreds of thousands of artillery shells and 1 million small arms rounds. The Russian Secret Service Foreign Intelligence Service commented on it as follows. It seems that the desire of Serbian defense industry workers and their patrons to profit from the blood of brotherly Slavic nations has made them completely forget who their real friends are and who their enemies are. Vučić rejects criticism, saying Serbia faces frequent attacks from east and west due to his independent policy. But that's not all. Vučić took a historic step in June. For the first time since the beginning of the war, he visited Ukraine. He met President Zelensky in Odessa and expressed support for Ukraine's territorial integrity. He refused to sign the sanctions declaration against Russia. Vučić himself responded cautiously to Moscow's accusations. Some of those claims are simply not true, he stated. He also announced a Serbian-Russian working group to investigate if Serbian weapons reached Ukraine through other countries. The West reacted differently. Both Brussels and Washington remain officially silent, but sources say the European Union knows about the deliveries and quietly approves. Serbia is keeping its options open and playing its own game, but risks Moscow no longer understanding it. We're not done yet. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It'll help it reach more people. If you'd like to support my work, you can contribute with a thank you. Thank you. Let's keep going. Protests, lithium, and discontent beneath the surface. Not all threats to Vučić's regime come from abroad. The most explosive ones are at home and often erupt on Belgrade's streets. One of the most controversial topics in recent years is the lithium mining project being prepared by the American-British company Rio Tinto. A major lithium mine will be built in Europe's Jadar region. Lithium is essential for batteries, electric vehicles, and the green transition. For the West, it's a strategic project, but for many Serbs, it's an environmental threat. The contract with Rio Tinto, which is back on the table after a temporary halt, has been labeled a priority by the European Union, but opposition to it is growing. Farmers, activists, and ordinary people are worried about poisoned water, a destroyed environment, and corrupt deals that benefit only a handful. Zlatko Kokanovic, a farmer, warned that if digging begins, the government will fall within a week. These words were said in June as tensions in the Jadar region rose again. That's not all. Another tragedy struck Serbia. The railway station roof collapsed in Novi Sad. Several people died, and this incident sparked a series of anti-government protests that have been ongoing since November 2024. Today, the protests go beyond lithium or the accident. It's about corruption, cronyism, concentration of power, and Vučić's 12-year dominance in leading the country. Students, farmers, and pensioners are in the streets demanding change, justice, and early elections. Vučić and the strategy of playing all sides. Everything we've mentioned so far, rapprochement with the European Union, tensions with Russia, domestic protests, and the controversial lithium mining, all create the context from which Aleksandar Vučić shapes the concept of his policy, and that is strategic ambiguity. It's a deliberate tactic of maneuvering between the great powers. Serbia doesn't want to be definitively either in the East or in the West. It wants to take advantages from both worlds. It attracts investments and European Union membership promises. From Russia, it receives energy, Kosovo support, and strong domestic political emotions. This isn't a new approach. For example, Egypt during the Cold War and Turkey under Erdogan acted similarly. Does this approach have its limits? Yes, it does. The many doors policy works until powerful players realize you aren't truly on their side. But what is Vučić aiming for with this? Power, stability, and time. Time that allows him to maneuver. Time that postpones the decision. And time to build a home system that ensures his survival regardless of global changes. Conclusion: Serbia, a geopolitical crossroads, faces intense internal and external pressure today. Brussels is pressuring it to clearly side with Western democracies. On the other side, Moscow is watching it, not wanting to lose one of its last open partners in Europe. Meanwhile, at home, dissatisfaction is rising over power concentration and the country's direction. But Vučić is still balancing. He is balancing the demands of the European Union public sentiment, the economy, and ideology among major powers. The question is, how long can he keep it up? If Serbia eventually aligns with the West, Brussels must be ready for the possibility that it could be accepting not just an ally, but a potential Russian Trojan horse. Protests, lithium, and discontent beneath the surface. Not all threats to Vučić's regime come from abroad. The most explosive ones are at home and often erupt on the streets of Belgrade. One of the most controversial topics in recent years is the lithium mining project being prepared by the American-British company Rio Tinto. A major lithium mine will be built in the Jadar region, making it one of Europe's largest. Lithium is essential for batteries, electric vehicles, and the green transition. For the West, it's strategic, but many Serbs see it as an environmental threat. The contract with Rio Tinto, recently revived after a pause, is now a priority for the European Union, but opposition to it is growing. Farmers, activists, and ordinary people are worried about poisoned water, a destroyed environment, and corrupt deals that benefit only a handful. Farmer Zlatko Kokanovic warned that if digging begins, the government will fall within a week. These words were said in June, when tensions rose again in the Jadar region. That's not all. Another tragedy hit Serbia. The roof collapsed at Novi Sad's railway station. Several people died, and this very incident sparked a series of anti-government protests. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a like and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next ones I'm working on. You can support my work by showing gratitude. To help the video reach more people, click on praise. Thank you.